Alright, Robert here with Seat Concepts. Today we're going to do an install on an XR650L or an older XR600. We already glued the foam on the pan. We put the plastic liner on, cut it to length at the back. You can just drape it over, make sure it covers the sides, tuck it under. The seat cover's been in the sun, getting nice and warm and pliable. We'll start by laying the front over, go to the back, flip it over. You're going to center the back where the seams are centered. Roll it over. At this point, don't crank it too far in just because you can. You don't want it just to overlap about 1 inch. Put a staple in right at the seam and do the same for the next side. Okay, we'll flip it back over. Confirm everything's square. And then we're going to work on the tongue first at this point. Make sure it's side to side, it's even for the seams. You can either flip it over or just spin it around. We're going to staple it so the seam is right on the edge, not underneath and not up on top. With this seat, it's easy to crush the foam, so don't get too crazy and collapse the foam. So at this point, we're going to go ahead, pull here. Don't pull backwards, you're going to pull down just so it's tight and get the wrinkles out. And what you're doing here is just kind of setting the seams side to side. Hang on to one side, tuck it under, put a staple in. I always try to put at least one staple over the seam so it doesn't unravel potentially. So again, you're going to check, make sure the seams are side to side even. Then we're going to come up here. The key on these is to grab the material, pull it out, set the seam right on the edge of the foam. Don't try to collapse it. You're just trying to set that seam right there even. And there's not a whole lot of pressure going in. That way it holds the stock shape. Our foam being softer and more pliable than the factory foam leads to it to be collapsible, unlike the stock seat. Basically, you're just trying to pull the cover tight and sculpture the shape, not collapse it or anything, just hold it in place where it's not loose but not crushing the foam. So at this point, got the front tongue pretty much done where I'm happy with it. We're going to come back here. You're going to pull the cover back a little bit. Put a little preload to the back, and you're going to set the seams so you don't, it's easy to drag it over too far, so you don't want to do that. Alright, so basically you're just checking, make sure your seams stay pretty even. Don't be shy, you can pull the staples out if you kind of got it shifted. Kind of maneuver it around a little bit. At this point, got it pretty squared up. We're good enough to move on to get the back pretty much set up where we want. When you get the back, you might find that you have enough slack to pull a little bit more back here, help relieve any possible wrinkles. So I'll pull my preload. Go ahead and put a couple staples in right here. Stop. Good. Alright, so sample that. We got those 2 staples in. Since we pulled a little bit more tension now than where we had originally, we're going to pop these staples out. We're going to pull more tension in. Here's a chance too to reassess where your rear seams are going to end up and adjust for that if needed. Alright, the back here, you'll have some extra material. What we're going to do is go ahead and finish going. You're going to leave about 2 inches before you get to the back. Go ahead and put one more staple in, leave a little bit of room. Here's where you start to pull down and go forward. As long as the wrinkles are below this seam, you're good. So you'll just kind of pull it forward a little bit and staple over that fold. Do another one. And then another. This is where longer staples do help. So that side's all done. As you can see from the outside, no wrinkles, it's all clean. Keep everything underneath, and when we're all done, we'll just trim it. Alright, that concludes the install. You'll just clean it up, wipe it up, confirm all the edges are still set. You can kind of push the edge up on the foam, make sure it's forward and not pulling the foam off the pan. At that point, you just come back in, trim off the excess material around the edges and the plastic, and you're ready to ride. Thanks a lot. Bye.